Indeed, Buster. Indeed. We're never free. I hate Leadhead Samsara. I pressed the pause button, sir. I'm so sick of Leadhead and Samsara. Sometimes I feel like there's always going to be an inevitable, hole that you keep finding yourself going back to. But sometimes, very, very occasionally, there are times where you say to yourself, you could also not. That's what I feel Leadhead's content has gotten to, for me, personally. When it comes to me specifically looking into this person and trying to figure them out. I've gotten to the answer. Anything else now is just further confirmation of that answer, because there's nothing deeper to learn under the surface of this individual or on the topic itself at hand, because they keep demonstrating the same behavior and the same logic and the same action that leads to the lack of interest with that person. I don't like looking at people like puzzles, but when it comes to people who are very clearly lolcows, I will look at them as such. And because they choose to take themselves as seriously the way they do, I don't know what to say other than Mo, because it's the same shit. Putting up appearances, putting up behavior, putting up action, it's the same shit. It's the same shit. And that's half the reason why it's boring. You can't be doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Eventually you've got to switch up. And I am actually disappointed by this person who has shown no aptitude on how to switch shit up. Why is my chat not on my screen? Butt tricks. Butt tricks. Fresh thing really quick. But it is what it is, I guess. It just is what it is. I got a soda. I've got alcohol. Well, I don't have alcohol. I was given alcohol on my birthday. Pure Don Julio. Pure Don Julio. With some Dr. Pepper, actually. But I've got soda. I've got water. I've got a coffee drink behind me. What was left of this batch of Kool-Aid. The real question here is, how dry is my cup going to go and how fast? Does she really deserve alcohol, though? Realistically, when you think about it, it's kind of like the nuisance that you expect from a child misbehaving in school, more than just like a constant drinking problem that causes you to have to find ways to solve the problem. There goes my chats! In my opinion, I would say no. But for the sake of like boredom, various levels of yes.
Okay. I'm just the cop in your mind. This has to come from
And now?
1, 2, 3.
We're getting fanciful again. You're off tune! This is the vocalist in me. I know that they're off the fucking key. Side effect of taking drugs that alter your body in ways that you will have to regret in the future. Your singing voice destroyed. Have to relearn your octave and pitch all over again unless you're willing to physically commit to using a voice octave that you actively don't speak in all the time. Your singing voice and your speaking voice are very close to the same thing, depending on how often you're using it. So that happens when you do trans voice. Vocal coaches can help with that, but not by much. We've already had a new level of pedantic. That's a sip. And it's black and white too, so it's for extra drama. Also, hello. Hi, Callum. I've been out of the loop for a while, but I'm back because Carl's pain at listening to these treatments is like a beacon that calls to me from across the Atlantic. I can feel Carl through the connection. He speaks to me from across the sea. I divined that it was like this sweet knowledge, and it sounded like, "Bitch, are you serious?" More lords for the Eldritch Abomination. Get to the point, Leadhead. There's another Beacon listener. Hello, Bogdan. There goes that banantism.
So as you can see, I started smoking pot again this year. I kept telling myself that it felt like I lost something the first time that I got high again, but it didn't really feel like that at all.
Here's my problem with that, Leadhead. Also, music, you're slightly too loud. I need to hear the bullshit coming out of your face. Just a little bit down. There we go. So that's bullshit, Leadhead. I don't believe that you weren't not smoking weed the entire fucking time. I doubt to believe that you weren't not already smoking pot. You've mocked and joked and bragged about doing drugs. You've mocked and joked and laughed about doing extremely concerning amounts of behaviors and actions. You have done everything in your power to effectively make everybody be concerned on whether or not you are an individual who deserves to be given any kind of leniency for the actions and behaviors you have decided to do for no other reason than your own particular boredom. And it's in this particular boredom that we find ourselves concerned with your imbibement of particular booze and alcohol. So I don't believe that you weren't already doing substances, as much as I already know and we already have confirmed from your own words that you have continued living in a life of sin that specifically extends from you using your friends as a way to be involved with them in bed so you can feel better about yourself. You already suck on cancer sticks. Isn't it any different if you smoke weed?
I also gave up on learning to cook, and I gave up on trying to stay in contact with my online friends. I gave up on voice training, I gave up on spironolactone, and on this video about cars that I was halfway through writing.
Now, I don't believe any of that shit because I believe that you already cut them off to begin with. Did you forget when you tried to fake being the fan of Tyler the Creator so you could announce to the world, yes, one of the people who's responsible for why I'm in this emotionally abusive situation where I take advantage of people and I use them for optics on the internet. I'm cutting out the person who I cheated with, who I tried to lie about because my sister was my aunt, was my grandma, was my brother, was my sister. And they never spoke to me no way too kindly. Lestat, 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 Lestat. Remember that shit? Yeah, we remember that. So I don't care. You occupy a part of my mind that I dedicate to watching trash television.
I tried to give up cigarettes, but I wound up giving up on that goal instead.
Yeah, because you're a fucking addict. And you don't feel passionately about anything. Other than passionately exclaiming, I'm a puppy girl. I'm a Therian. I like sex. I like filling my holes. That's what you care about.
No. I think we're about to see me give up on piano. Like an old stray cat sitting on a fence. Ain't got enough dough to pay the rent. I'm a flat broke, but I don't care. You know, I only picked up piano because my wife picked up bass a month or two ago, and she's...
Well, there goes the man voice. All of it's gone. There it goes. There it's gone. Now we're firmly in Riley Dennis / ContraPoints territory. How sad is that? That ContraPoints puts in more effort.
like, already better than I ever was at guitar. I figured if I learned piano, it'd make me better at music as a whole. It's probably true, but, well...
No. You do not need to become better at piano in order for you to become good at shit. That's not how it works. Don't be retarded.
I don't really care about getting better at music. I tell myself that I do, but I don't really feel like that at all. I'm a decent enough singer, and I can play guitar well enough to use it as an excuse to sing.
Cap. Don't you believe it? That's bullshit.
That's enough for me, though. Music's just not really my thing like that. I like...
Then why are you using it to posture on the tape? Use a fake ass bitch.
making videos. I like making conversation, and I like making cars work. I tell myself that that's not enough for me to be a complete person, but I don't really feel like that at all. See, I feel like most people worry way too much about being complete. Like there's some sort of finish line somewhere. There isn't. Every time I make a new video, pour my heart out into it, come out of the process proud, I wind up hating that video a week later, invariably, every single time. Whenever I'm working on a video, I tell myself that this one's going to be the one, even though it isn't. There's no such thing as the one, and there never could be. Every night that I go to bed telling myself I'm going to deep clean the kitchen the next morning, I wake up mad at myself, knowing that I'm not going to do it.
See, you have the same problem my woman has, which is that you get very, very depressed, and you put a lot of your focus and a lot of your personality and your personhood into feeling like if you don't succeed at something, the first time you do it, that it's a sign that you don't deserve to have rights. Which is something I don't like when she says that, when she feels like that, because it's something that comes from something I can't solve. She doesn't need to be fixed. She just needs to be loved. And also probably dig down 6 ways till Sunday. But she doesn't need to be fixed. But the idea that she is in need of fixing causes me endless vexation. Because it comes from a place that I know she knows, and I know that she knows that she knows that we know that she knows that I know that she knows, that she doesn't need to feel that way. She doesn't need to feel like her desire comes at cost, that she is taking from me. You know, like lying. She doesn't need to feel like she's lying to me by not being perfect. Because I could care less if she's perfect. I care that she's happy. But unfortunately, in the minds of individuals like Leadhead, and also in the minds of individuals like Star, less like Star and more like people like Leadhead, they're more focused in the monomyth and the pseudodrama that they tell themselves, rather than the things that actually matter in the long terms of the stuff that they have at their particular recompense. Because it controls every factor of exactly how much and how little they value themselves. It's a very poor value judgment. It's an extremely poor value judgment. And it's a value judgment that comes specifically from a place that you can't fix. You can't fix this kind of value judgment. You have to decide that you want something. That you want to be cared for, that you want to be loved, that you feel like you deserve to have rights, that you feel like there is something worth waking up for, nobody can take it from you. At the end of the day, you have to want it. If you don't want things like this, it has more to say with you being very, very depressed than it does that there's something wrong with the world and your particular place in it. And to those levels, that's not something that she's allowed to speak on. She can't. Because that's too real. That's too real and speaks to the heart of something that they have long since been trying to run away from. And we all know what it is because we witnessed it. It is the inability to confront the fact that they are the fucking problem. Their personal relationships, they're the problem. Their family unit, they are the problem. Their connections to other content creators outside their sphere of influence, they are the problem. Everybody else supposedly causing all of them problems in the household, but in reality, they're trying to figure out how to make money off of their interest and their involvement. They are the problem. So they turn to a vice rather than turning inwards and having an introspection on their human and personhood. Because outwardly lashing out at the world and drowsing it in the phase of an auteur, unlike a real auteur like myself, it comes from a place of deep nihilism and deep unhappiness. The good word to use is melancholia. It comes from a place of deep, in her case, self-obsessive melancholia. Because they don't actually have passions. They don't have anything they're really passionate about. They don't have anything that they really hyper-focus on other than sex. And sex, hypersexuality, is the nervous system's response to attempting to avoid the lack of stimuli. It's what you do if you are an addict, because your body has become addicted to attention. What do you do when nobody wants to fucking care about you or watch you, to the point that even your antics and lashing out at the world doesn't bring attention? This.
Maybe if I was the type of person who only ever wore clean clothes, I wouldn't be so depressed. Shit, maybe I just need to get big on YouTube again, or double my estrogen dosage. Maybe I need to cut out soda and cigarettes. Maybe then I look in the mirror and have nothing to say to myself. I just need to learn how to play piano, and it'll feel like when I was a kid again. Or maybe I just need to smoke a bowl and chill the fuck out.
I look out the window and I see dead people. I think about how I want to be remembered, and I realize that I don't really care about that. Time and time again, I felt a certain way, happy or sad, and I thought that I was going to feel that way forever. Time and time again, and I was wrong. I think about all the people who say my videos have helped them, but when I wake up the next morning, I'm just hungry and I want a cigarette.
See, I don't really care how I'm remembered, because I'm not going to be there to enjoy it anyways.
Melancholia. I don't really care how I'm going to be remembered. I'm not going to be there to enjoy it. I'm not a person that's going to like who I am at the end of the day. I'd rather bitch, whine, cry, and moan about how everything sucks and life is horrible and this shit's completely pointless.
Be there to correct people when they're wrong about what my motivations were. Legacy is a stupid fucking thing to be motivated by.
Get a job, you bum!
So what should I be motivated by? What should be the thing that's driving me to grow?
We can't answer that question for you. That's the fun thing about motivation. You have to know what motivates you. You have to know what puts a song in your fucking heart. And unfortunately, nothing puts a song in your fucking heart. Because you're goddamn miserable. You being miserable makes the people around you miserable. At no point in time do you ever take accountability for the fact that you make other people miserable. You just keep causing other people fucking misery. You count it up as it being something being done to you, rather than you doing it to everybody else. Which brings never-ending problems. Because it's so fucking sad. But it's so fucking pathetic. And you need to stop coping like this. because it comes from nothing but your own fucking melancholia.
Those questions are also stupid. A better question would be, why the hell do I need to be growing all the time? Who's it for? I'm decent enough at guitar.
You're meant to be growing for yourself. That's who you're growing for. You're growing for yourself. Your job is to grow for yourself and have fun growing for yourself in a way where you no longer have to think about whether or not you are valuable to other people, because you will already have value inside of your own judgment. So you don't blame the world, you don't blame people, you don't blame friends, you don't blame family. You blame only what you can control. You can control a lot about yourself. We all know that it's possible, because if we can do it, you can do it. It's one of the basic ways that I look at a lot of situations when it comes to my own audience. I could blame everything wrong with my career on somebody else. But does that make my career better? No. It only guarantees that I'll keep blaming other people instead of blaming myself. The correct response is to ask myself, why do I feel that way? And then I act accordingly. If I do that, it's much easier to figure out what exactly I feel like is going wrong. Because at that point, I can't blame anything other than me, because it is a choice that I am bringing on myself that becomes responsible for how I deal with myself and others, especially when there's no one around. I can't point my finger and say, well, see, this is something that you're doing to me, because it's not something that somebody else is doing to me. It's something that I'm doing to myself. If I'm doing it to myself, then there's no one that is left to blame but myself. And if myself is what's left to blame, then I know that I have to deal with it directly. I can't cope out on this. And if I cope out on it and keep coping and keep acting like I'm being punished for something when I'm very clearly choosing to take an action in my life, then what comes next is no one's fault other than mine. And then I must act further accordingly. I can cope, I can seethe, I can cry, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm not making decisions. Same way most people end up not making decisions. Choice paralysis is the thing. However, the way that you want to go about behaving, you're acting like a bum. A straight fucking loser. Something that we've all known about people that come from that worldview. Something we've known about leftists in general. But you're acting and you sound like a bum. You're acting and you sound like a fucking bum. What happened to all those? What happened to those lovely people in your life? What happened to those lovely, lovely folks that you rely on? Ain't hitting the same? Is that it, schnookums? Is that it, sweetie? Everybody else needs to feel bad because you feel sad inside?
It's hard that it can make me happy. I treat the people I love well enough that I can think about it and be happy. I like the music I listen to, I like the people I talk to, and I don't mind the bad days much. So what's the big rush to change my circumstances? What's the big rush to better myself when all these different things in my life make me and the people around me happy? Do I care about not smoking pot, or is that just something I used to care about? Do I care about being a better musician, or is that just something I used to care about? Do I care about having a healthier diet, or was that just something I used to care about? Here's an idea. Who I am naturally is exactly who I want to be. After all, if I...
So, who you are naturally, a piece of shit, is who you want to be. A piece of shit. Wonderful, wonderful, great, congratulations, wow, oh my god, what you say, Jesus Christ, these are the guys out of goddamn college, guys, oh my god!
If I was being somebody that I didn't want to be, I probably would have given up by now. That's what I tell myself anyways, but it doesn't always work. This is something that's been keeping me up at night this year. The issue is that I don't really buy it. It feels like I've lost so much this year, surrendered so many parts of myself, and given up on so many personal goals. Sobriety, Torment Session 2, a steady career talking about video games, all those little arguments that I choose not to have. I've sacrificed it all to make my life simpler and a little bit less painful. path of least resistance. That's my motivation. So why am I trying so hard to make this video the one?
There's lots of examples and explanations for that. However, the biggest problem in that statement is that you're leaving out details. Again, you don't need to make it into anything that it is not already. You feel the need to do something that you don't need to do because you are chasing something entirely different than someone like myself. If somebody wanted to, one of the best things they could say to fuck me up personally is say, Carl, you should stop trying to reach for validation or for understanding, because people aren't going to like you and see you the way that you think you see yourself. However, the fact of the matter is, I already know this information. This isn't going to be a grand secret that's going to divine things for me and make me figure out and understand the reason why I feel the way that I do inside. I already know that. I already know these things about myself. I already know these things about myself, and I do not feel a need and reason to go deeper inside of a hole to figure out how to achieve more in that hole. Because I've already arrived at that form of samsara, what can happen from there is entirely separate from what most people would have already come to the conclusion of. So I don't feel the need to do something like get involved and attempt to blame my problems on somebody who I don't know, because I know what's wrong with me. I deeply already understand it. In understanding it, there is nothing that is compulsing me to have to seek validation in a way where it doesn't fall back on that same knowledge. So, I don't need someone to tell me, have you tried not being a dick? Because I already know that my perception of myself is not going to be the same thing with other people. There are people who are set in their ways that are going to act certain ways that I'm not cool with. And I can't get upset at them for being who they are. That would be dumb. Why would I want to change how that person behaves when I already know that they know that they're not really going to change? Does that mean that I make no attempt to become a better person and I act like a jackass at all times? No, that is not what I do. But what I can do is that I can recognize that this is something that people are doing to themselves or collectively to others, and I can remove myself from that situation. So from the people around me who are doing behaviors that I don't fuck with and I don't like, I don't have to find myself coping for them. There's no reason to. I can just be myself. I move in the other direction. I do something different. By doing that different thing, I prevent myself from falling to the wayside. And I don't get blinded. Things that matter to me stay as things that matter to me. Then I don't have to feel depressed or sad. Because, oh, woe is me. Oh, woe is me. I feel like I'm not able to be happy. Oh! It's not something that happens to me anymore. At the very basic minimum, should that be something that affects me in such a way where I feel I have to reach for that compulsion, it instead becomes something that is less concerning as I have to behave this way, and becomes more like I can be completely chill and know that things that I'm concerned about aren't the things that I'm concerned about. Because the things that I'm concerned about are not the things that I'm concerned about. Meaning, I don't have to concern myself with the way that other people tell me I must be behaving and acting, because I know who I am. I don't have to seek outside validation from that resource of individuals who I may or may not know, because I know for a fact the way that they may behave is not the way that I behave, because I don't have to behave like a fucking hooligan. At the same time, I don't find myself being concerned with that deep knowledge and that deep interest, because I don't feel compulsion to tear myself apart to justify how I have to perceive myself in a group of people upon which there are no others that truly see me for me. Because that's actually what causes a lot of the melancholia that you could feel when you're looking at yourself as a content creator and saying, well, what do I have to do in order for me and everybody I know to feel happy with where we are in life? What do I have to do to achieve the outcomes that I want? And the answer is, bitch, stop being depressed. Suck a Negro's dick or something. Do something different. Damn. That's all you really got to do. It's all anyone's really ever had to do. And unfortunately, melancholia is easier to cope away with if you put the problem on somebody else entirely and act as though it is something, again, being done to you, not something that you are doing to everybody else by being annoying and pessimistic. Because if you go through life just saying, it's something that's being done to me and I can't change at all, you will never change. Because you have no incentive to change. There's nothing that gets you out of bed to change. And at that point, you might as well just stop talking. Because not a single thing insightful is ever going to come out of your mouth again. Especially if you choose to blame your problems on other people. And that's not how it should be all the time. But that's unfortunately how people choose to treat it. Only thing that causes that change to come, for whatever change may thrive within you, is for you to recognize this immediately and solve this problem immediately. Unfortunately, you cannot solve this problem immediately because that would require you to take accountability. That's not going to happen! Trans people on the internet being held accountable for problems they caused in their own life? Preposterous. Cherish the thought. None such thing could ever happen. Not to Leadhead. No, that's not how Leadhead works. Leadhead's not that kind of individual. Leadhead is the kind of person that will blame their problems on everyone else around them and then say, why am I being punished for just having a life, bro? That's what Leadhead does. That's what Leadhead is. And she will never be anything other than that. Because to be something other than that would imply that you understand where you are and why you're miserable. You know why you're miserable. You're just not going to change it. Because changing it implies you care. You care a lot more about the attention than you do about the fame. Unfortunately for you, fame and attention are the same thing. So you idolize yourself, and everybody else around you has no ability to tell you differently, not just because of who you are and how you behave, but specifically because of how your interest takes part in how you behave. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and a self-actualizing torture chamber, where the rest of us are being punished for knowing who you are. And no matter how many times somebody tells you you could change all this if you just stop being an asshole, you're not going to do that. Because then you don't have the power. Because then you don't have anything to whine about. That's the real problem. You'll have nothing to whine about. Please stop playing these discordant notes in my goddamn ear, girl. You're not Phantom of the Opera.
That's where we get to the lesson I'm trying to take away from all this losing myself that I'm doing this year. In spite of all that nihilism that feels so inherent to who I am, there are a lot of things that I really care about. Things that hurt me, but that I love. Videos like I've been making over the last year give me panic attacks every other day, imposter syndrome, rigorous self-critique.
Pause. You have rigorous self-critique and you have imposter syndrome because you are an imposter. The mimic asks themselves, am I real? Or am I just a fake? When you walk away. No, we ain't gotta go there. You feel the way you feel inside because it's true. You feel the way inside because it's true. It ain't finna change. It ain't finna change. Nay or nada. It is not finna change.
Dysmorphia, like you couldn't imagine. Every time I start work on a new video, I know that I'm signing up for that, and I get all depressed at what I'm about to put myself through, spilling my guts out to you all.
Oh, is the person who made their money and career by talking about themselves online starting to get melancholy about people treating them like they're not a person? Oh, oh, oh. I didn't know that if I talked about myself online, that people would constantly get tired of hearing my voice, and that it would cause me to have serious, never-ending trauma. Oh my god, I didn't know. No, you can't make fun of me. You can't make fun of me. That's not fair. You make fun of me for something I didn't know I was doing to myself. That makes you toxic. Where? Toxic. Gag me. I could have gotten that clean up. Gag me.
Then I get all depressed thinking about how I could be bringing in more money to help get my family out of the country if I just switch to a simpler, more traditional job. And then I start feeling selfish for choosing to be a failing, has-been YouTuber instead of a mechanic or a truck driver or something.
I mean, that's a decision that we all make. Hell, if you've ever had desires in being a content creator, it is a serious question you're going to have to ask your partner at some point in the future. Hey babe, how do you actually feel about me doing these things that potentially can become the way that I make my bread? It's a question that any person who's ever wanted to be a content creator will have to ask themselves at some point in the future, because it's not a joke. It is an actual real thing to have as a social compunction. However, what you're experiencing, Leadhead, is not that. It's something much, much worse. It's something much, much worse.
Every workday follows that same schedule of toxic emotions, and most of my off days do too, but invariably, as soon as I'm done working on one video and coming to terms with the impending release of it, I'm already planning out my next, even more ambitious video, and the cycle begins again.
Yeah, because unfortunately you're stuck inside that loop that says, I must make content. If I don't make content, then I'm wasting my time. I can't grow if I don't make content. It's not a healthy cycle to be caught in. That's why I don't put out the videos the way that I have been probably told by others that I should put them out. I don't make content to show up in your feed like Smash JT, because that would make me deeply unhappy. I would much rather show up when I have something to say about a topic, and if I'm saying something about a topic, I'm saying something about that topic because I actually have something to say about it, not because I'm trying to get onto the goddamn algorithm. That doesn't help. Algorithmic deplatformation and deplatformation does not create satisfaction in me. That does not make me zing.
So why do I do it?
Money, greed.
Why do I put myself through all that, but I can't be bothered to suck a piano for a few months?
The same reason why you aren't willing to become a true porn star and suck a cock on camera. Because you're a coward. Carl, you can't say that. You're just being mean for attention. You're bullying trans people again. No, I'm not. They're a coward. They are a coward. And they are cowardly hiding behind any answer that they could give about why they feel the way they do, because they are incapable of actually addressing what they truly are. And that is a lech upon everyone around them in society. And telling them blatantly and calling out blatantly in front of a live studio audience, that is not anything closer to evil as it is to something that is just true. It is true. It's not going to stop being true just because somebody else feels annoyed by the fact I said something that is blatantly true. Because it's true. Unfortunately. Do I wish that person could change? I do. I wish that that Leadhead could learn and stop riding on the wheel of Samsara and eventually get to the point where they feel happy inside. But they're never going to feel happy inside. Because happiness is not their goal. Greed is their goal. They will never stop feeling unsatisfied in life because they will never stop accepting, or they will never truly accept, the fact that they are responsible for their own misery. And that misery is what brings them to being who they are. They are never going to change in a serious, contemptuous way that will cause them happiness, because happiness is the antithesis of their outcome. They don't want to be happy. They want to be miserable. Misery inspires. By being inspired through never-ending misery, nobody can ever say Leadhead's boring. Except they are boring. Because they're boring as fuck. They're deeply nihilistic and they are deeply hateful. I am at no point at all brought to care about their problems because they are self-inflicted.
Believe it or not, it's
Heal thyself, transition. That one, however, was brutal. Oh, Carl.
not because I'm lazy. It's not because of all the DMs from people saying that my videos help them. It's not because I think that someday the pain of being so vulnerable to strangers will go away, or because I think that someday I might have the funding and experience to make a real movie. It's just because it makes me happy. Believe me, it hurts. It hurts like hell to know that because I couldn't go on packaging up all my deepest thoughts and feelings into discussions about video games, I might lose my dream job someday soon. It hurts to know that for so many people, so many years of drowning in all my passion amounted to nothing. Because I said that I didn't really feel like I was a boy. It kills me to think that there are people out there who will only ever see me as another toy for them to play their reactionary drama games with.
Pause. Can you spot the lie? We just heard it. Can you spot it, chat? Can you spot the delusion?
I can't sleep at night thinking about all the people who think that my perspective is valueless because I'm a sex worker.
There goes another one.
It disgusts me that as a woman I'm not allowed to show my ugly side in the same way that a man can.
There it is again. God damn. Who is this ghost? Who is this ghost? Who are they and why do they act like that?
There's somebody in the audience right now laughing at all of this vulnerability, laughing at all my pain, and
Well, unfortunately, Leadhead, you're wrong. Because I'm not laughing. Word to the wise, chat. The problem with behaving like this is not that people will see actions as a performance. It is that performance itself is something that you are being performative for and to. I don't give a damn what Leadhead chooses to do. I can just very clearly see that I am being performed for. This is not real authenticity. This is something being offered up in place of real authenticity because they do not know how to be authentic to themselves.
thinking it's cringy of me to share it. Others still think that I need to get over it because I don't work a fast food job and my disability is more subtle than some other people's.
To those who don't understand why I'm complaining so much, when, as I said earlier, I have my dream job, it's because no amount of happiness can stop life from being painful. Life is, among a lot of other things, sitting there bound and gagged, watching as your body falls apart, watching as the things that you thought were permanent crumble between your fingertips, watching as you start forgetting the intricacies of the things that you once thought were everything. Each person only has room for so many things on their soul, and growing can only ever mean replacing something that helped you get this far with something else, which might hurt you instead. Fear, doubt, anxiety, loathing, loneliness. These are facts of life in a way that happiness just isn't.
Pause. You're responsible for everything that's happening to you. If you can't get your head to float above water because you're a fucking retard, that's not our problem, and we will not be guilt-tripped into you, nor will I allow you to manipulate my audience into thinking that you are such. You are who you are, and you wanted to be this. Why are you not happy? Laugh, clown, laugh. If you are incapable of dealing with your problems and taking countenance of your life, looking around yourself and seeing what you've done, then you are more helpless than anybody could ever imagine, and everything that's happening to you is happening for a reason, and that is good. That is literally a moral good that I am happy to be taking a place in the compactation of, because it means you haven't learned a damn thing, and didn't want to learn a damn thing. And in the exaltation of learning that damn thing, you're going to finally figure out that sympathy is not the same thing as empathy. Sympathy is feelings. It is feeling what you feel. Empathy is understanding that feeling and expressing it outwardly. I can sympathize with how you allowed yourself to be brought to where you are in your life. I do not empathize with what you are doing. While you immediately turned around and said, "You have no reason to talk about me. Stop talking about my life. Stop talking about my life." And now you are literally performing as, "Well, there's people out there who wish I would suffer. I guess I'll just die." I said, "I guess I'll just die." Usually this is where the chuds come in. Sorry, the chuds don't give a shit. Now, there is a very, very important silver lining here. It's very specific. To you. So, by that I mean, when you say this...
It's because no amount of happiness can stop life from being painful.
Pause. To you. When you say this...
Life is, among a lot of other things, sitting there bound and gagged, watching as your body falls apart, watching as the things that you thought were permanent crumble between your fingertips, watching as you start forgetting the intricacies of the things that you once thought were everything.
Pause. To you. Your life is miserable because you don't see how to go on. Because to you, that's what life is. That ain't life to me. Ain't life to nobody in this chat room. Because everybody gets sad. Your problem, Leadhead, is that you don't know how to be alone. Because you don't know the difference between loneliness and being alone with your thoughts. And your thoughts. And your dildos. And your sex toys. And your weed. And your tobacco machine. And what is apparently your favorite type of tobacco, which is top brand tobacco. How does he know that? Because I paid attention to what you were using in the background of your last video. You don't see a way to have compunction of personal value and ethical growth underneath your value structure and your focus of hierarchy by the systemic need of value inside society. You think that your life must be the camera and the marquee with your name in lights all the fucking time, all in existence, specifically so that you can intrinsically find value upon yourself, on other people, and then having that value expressed outwardly as an expression and as a compulsion of how you feel about other people. That is your problem. It's one of your problems, but it's your biggest problem. Much like myself, and much like Shark03, and much like other people who have ever found themselves in a position being harassed, being antagonized, being harangued, being mocked, being stalked, being cyber-stalked, and being fucked with because somebody else decided to make content of you or out of you, or out of yourself. Yo. You have found yourself in the crossroads of choice paralysis. You have a lot of choices you could be making that you know you should be making because they're actually good for you. But you don't want to do those things because that does not validate your self-perspective. Your particular wheel of Samsara is that you have long had to deal with the fact that everything happening to you and around you is the responsibility of you having shirked your responsibility onto other people. You shirk responsibility for being an adult onto your partners / found family, despite saying, I'm going to be the best mother of all. I'm going to be the best mom there ever was. I'm going to show you, Mom. I'm going to show you how much of a woman I can be. Suddenly now, you're sitting in the goddamn tub doing an impression of people who used to do fucking covers of Tattoo All the Things She Said. Unfortunately, you're not a hot German girl who's pretending to be lesbian with their coworker for appearance and attention. You're just a transgender individual who has used their personal dynamic and their sob story of claiming their family never accepted them and never loved them as a way to push away any kind of criticism, constructive or not, from inside and outside the house. The house that you destroyed with your actions when it was also upsetted and ransacked by Hurricane Helene. And much like in Praise of Shadows, who brought it on themselves, your personal monomyth and story is so exhaustive and boring that just like on that broadcast, it makes me want to go. Except in that case, it was more exhaustion there and also keeping up on the track of news because I worked myself to the bone. Meanwhile, what do? Make shit up and use justifications from the Associated Press to explain how actually this talking point that I have about capitalism and communism, it's just like when people who are working in a program to become capable of returning to society go to public and work at jobs that they are not being worked as slaves at, but instead an active choice that they're making to be able to rejoin society. And one dumbass fucking person who can't stop doing crimes and drugs, crashing a goddamn work van on their way to their shift at McDonald's, somehow that translates to you in your mind as ethics under capitalism. Because you think your life is the same as that person in prison. Despite the fact that you are in a prison of your own design. It's like Daddy Azar used to say, Roy. A gilded throne is the most devious trap of all, because you are in fact a canary in a golden cage, but you're not in a mine shaft. You're not a canary in the coal mine. You are a songbird. You are a Technicolor songbird, trapped in the Technicolor throne and cage of politics and political identity. Because your personal identity has nothing to do with your content. It is something that you performatively do to other people. You won't change anything going down that path because it is impossible for you to. Because unfortunately, changing that pathway would mean actually putting yourself at harm and at risk for development. And you're not going to put yourself at risk for change of development because that would imply that you learned the lesson. What's the lesson, Carl? To love yourself. Unconditionally. Again, bitch, you can't hate me. I know I'm beautiful. But unfortunately, for some people that find themselves in your dialectic, you don't see yourself as beautiful. You need other people to validate you. And that's the true tea, hunty. You could always change and be different, but you're not going to because you can't. You don't know how to. You don't know how to be your own person. Because unfortunately, your own person comes at the consequence of everybody else around you having to suffer through your content. You are cognizant in the fact that you cause yourself problems. Instead of taking accountability for it, you keep blaming your problem on everybody else. And something that they're not doing enough for you. If I gave you time powers, and I allowed you to have the ability to go back in history and figure out what to do differently to change history for yourself, you would learn nothing. You would learn absolutely nothing. Because as far as you're concerned, again, it is something being done to you, not something you have done to yourself. And everybody else is watching you do to yourself. Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? You continue to do it to yourself, and in only the way that you can, you keep telling other people it's being done to you. But it's not. You are still doing it to yourself. And no matter how we try to rationalize to you, hey, you could just stop hitting yourself. You insist that it must be everybody else punishing you. For reasons such as they don't like me like that, to they want to hurt me, to everything. It's honestly everything at the end of the day. But at least for the way that you've tried to pare it down for most people's attention factor, it becomes a psychodrama. And the more we hear and see of this psychodrama, the more clear we can see that the person who is responsible for where you currently are is the one who is looking in the mirror. It is just unfortunate that you can't start with the man in the mirror. Because that's just kind of it, ain't it? How could you? If you blame the man in the mirror, that means you're already giving away and letting go of the validation that is causing you to be in where you are. Which is a horrible way to phrase it, but it's actually what's happening. You are being stuck in a choice parallax. This choice parallax is stealing from you your agency. You can't get agency for the problem because that agency itself is derived from something else other people could give you to better improve your circumstances based on how you are acting. But unfortunately, it's not fixing you, because the more you pound away at this millstone, the more aggressive you become with seeing your issue. This sounds circular, but I'm explaining something very specific, okay? I'll be very blunt here. You are trying to control something you aren't able to. And you can't fix it, because fixing it means removing the thing that makes you, in your mind, to you, who you are. Who is Leadhead if they're not a transgender who is making, and let me directly quote it here. One second. Boom. Get off the board. Someone who describes themselves as, quote, a gonzo still life essayist for the overly romantic. Screen, work with me. There we go. Beep. No, I said beep. Beep. Who are you, Penelope, if you are not the person who puts their life in front of the camera and lives your life in front of the camera? Who are you at the end of the day? Everything that you are is in your tapes. They are a horcrux, if you will. Without your channel, without your personal drama being what made you popular, or rather I should say infamous, without the never-ending drama of saying, the chuds, transgenderism, politics, transgenderism, who are you? Not in the dark, but what you say in McDonald's queue at 8 a.m. when you want to get a fucking breakfast sandwich. Who are you? You don't know. Because you both didn't want to know, and validation outside yourself was easier than answering that question. I'm sure all of us have heard the adage. It's not who you are in the light, it's who you are in the dark, right? True character is figuring out who you are in the dark. Unfortunately, that adage, in reality, is a reflection of a lesson that you have to learn the hard way. Sunlight is, in fact, the best disinfectant. But it's also the only way that you get vitamin D. If you spend all your time in a cave, and you say in isolation, you know who you are, if you step into the light, and suddenly you feel that you're lost, set adrift on a memory bliss of old ideas of who you used to be, based on something that you set as your own self-subscribed monomyth, if who you are in the dark doesn't match up with who you are in the light, or rather, who you were in the dark, and then as you come forth from this pilgrimage to your innermost truth, does not match the lessons that should reflect the evolution of who you are in the light. Stay with me now, chat. Stay with me now. If who you are in the dark is not the old you that has died to give birth to the new you in the light, you're still the same person, just inside a room with some goddamn color. If you are a person that has left the fucking desert and you see a pool of water and you walk to that pool of water and you are drinking it like it is the finest breast milk that even Homelander himself wants to subscribe from the lowest stand-in they designed in that universe, and then somebody supposedly comes along and destroys the made-up fantasy that you live in, as she claims that all of us are Butcher, trying to kill her and her personality and her personhood and her reality and everything she does with everybody she knows. If she then cradles the face of her Stillwell and sears its fucking eyes out herself, and then turns around to us and says, I don't know who I am anymore, and it's your fault, they are forgetting that entire part where they did this action of murder. Which means, for those of us who are not leftists, who I specifically designed that for, so you can understand what the fuck I'm saying, when you go to say he's a hateful transgender bigot that he doesn't like, a wink. What I'm saying there is, bringing out the document, when Leadhead says, it's something being done to me, it wasn't me, it was the hateful transgender bigots on the internet. Okay, cool, Leadhead. Just one thing. Can you explain this shit? Can you explain this? Can you explain this? Can you explain all of this too? Who did this? I can't believe it. How did I break into your house? How did I break into your house and make you make all this content? How did I make you do all this? How did I make you tell me these things? How did I make you go to your channel and invent a monomyth of all this other shit? I can't believe it. Those damn trolls, those fucking incels, I can't believe that. Harumph. Still, just one thing. Who made you make this? Who made you make this, and 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 this one too, that one too, this one too, and that one too, and that one too, and that one too. And let's not even forget the ones that you delisted on the channel. Oh my god, I can't believe it! The trolls are in your house! They're recording you on the internet, online, in your house! They break into your house! Every every time on your content, even in the last part where you said, "But oh my God, guys, I can't believe I radicalized myself by watching BreadTube. I need to radicalize myself harder to be a communist. Oh my God, who did it? Leadhead, who did it? Who made this scroll of all of your supporters? Who did this?
Go learn some stuff from my friend.
Who did it?
We'll see you all in the
Who did it, Penelope? Who did it? Oh my God, Penelope, it was you! Oh my God! It's not on the screen, let me scroll down. Oh my God! Oh my God! The child was you all along! Oh my God! How did that happen? How did you become the incels and the liars and the cheatskates and the trolls? I thought it was hateful, fucked up bigots that said they wanted to kill you in your sleep and shit. That's what you said. That's what you told everybody. That was the lie you said. Do you remember? Oh, maybe you don't remember. Don't worry. I got the details right here. Don't you worry. Then we switch straight over again, and then we just go ahead and circle, dot, dot, and underline. Okay, so zoom, 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 zoom. This right here, that's you! What did you say? Here's a ramble and a request for people to stop DMing me every time random people on the internet lie about me. You said this? You said this? You said this? And also, make sure you remember, you said obviously bad actors. You said this too. And then you said this right here. Don't worry, I'll repeat what you said since you clearly don't remember it. I don't really need to hear about it every time some chud decides to make shit up about me. So please stop telling me about it, and for your sake, my queer or ally friends, stop engaging in it. It's not good for any of our headspaces. Then you said this 2 lines too under it. I'm going to read those too. I'm gonna circle them too. And I'm also going to make sure to note the date. February 23rd, 2025 at 10:30. Let them have their fun and get bored and move on. Make it smaller. Make it bigger. Zoom in a little better. There you go. Let them have their fun and get bored and move on. They ultimately have zero impact on reality, and so engaging with it in social media arguments can only ever drag you down. I appreciate the concern, but again, I have nothing that these people can take from me. My audience is smarter than that, so please leave it alone and let me have my blissful ignorance. Let me just go ahead and circle dot dot. I have nothing that these people can take from me. Well, that was a fucking lie. That was a fucking lie. You took your own happiness. And you blamed yes. And now, instead of saying, maybe those people had criticisms I should listen to. No, nothing that they can tell you and nothing they can take from you. Okay, girl. Okay. Still, just going back on it. Just a reminder. You said that, and then you did this to yourself. So, don't come to people like myself. Don't go to Foggy. Don't go to fucking Copency TV. Don't go to FPS Diesel. Don't go to any person who talks about your drama, looks into you, learns your shit. You literally are the problem. You are why you feel this way. You dug yourself in a hole, and now, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, back half of September leading to October, it's been Goddamn, I'm knocking a lot of phlegm loose. It's been 8 days since you coped with me, and I am still fucking laughing at you, sorry. We didn't do shit! I did not do anything! I pointed, I laughed, I made money off of it, I pointed, I laughed again, I made money off it, I pointed, I laughed again, I made money off it, and I didn't have to tag you to do it. And somehow you're still miserable. What happened to your blissful ignorance? Huh? Oh! It wasn't being ignorant. It was lying to yourself. Because somehow you're still not happy. Maybe it's because it's not about the money. Maybe it's not about the fame either. Maybe it's about the fact that you're still tap dancing on the damn stage. Take the makeup off. We're not interested in the minstrel show anymore. This digital trans face that you're doing. Yes, that's what I'm calling it, because that's what they're doing. They're doing a minstrel show. They're acting like they are being victimized for being transgender when they're just miserable because they're not happy with where they are in their life. And then they are blaming other people for things that they did to themselves, that they know that they did to themselves. But they're framing everything as though it's something being done to them that, oh, I'm just on a higher level of understanding. You could never know what I'm talking about. But whether it be a learned scholar or a fucking idiot midwit on the side of the road, well, actually no, midwit's not the right word, Neanderthal. A dumb Neanderthal on the side of the road. The bell curve shows clearly that these two sides know what's happening, and you in the middle are still coping and seething. And it's obvious to anybody who looks at your story for more than 5 seconds. If they dig in deeper, they will find the answers. The same way that I did. Unless they are politically motivated, in which to say something opposite of that. Which is what you are. You know, just in case that I didn't make that clear, allow me to be sympathetic about it. In only the way that Carl can. You're your own problem, and you're not going to be happy until you stop making your identity, your happiness, and your happiness perceived happiness your identity. If you're miserable, stop making yourself miserable. You're not going to do it because your money is dependent on it. Period. Moving on. If only I stopped choking on my own saliva today. But it's not likely to stop happening. I might actually need to go to the hospital about it. But I can't afford to! You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you, Leadhead? No, lie and say that I'm cisgendered and an African American that can be clear of 4 things. Can't wait to get bullied by a sibling for this one!
Each person only has room for so many things on their soul, and growing can only ever mean replacing something that helped you get this far with something else, which...
Bitch, life is not a fucking roguelike run. Okay? Life is not Hades. Life is not the Binding of Isaac. No, it's just phlegm. If I was actually having a problem, you'd see me run off to the bathroom very quickly, Buster. But I appreciate your concern. Yeah. Life is not a fucking roguelike deck builder. It has a lot of features like it is, which means it's not a roguelike, it's a roguelite. But it's not a roguelite deck builder. You don't have to chop off parts of yourself in order for you to be able of being who you think that you are inside. What you have to do is you have to count up the lessons and also your sins and decide what kind of man and or woman you want to be. And then, upon deciding what kind of man and woman you want to be, put yourself on the trajectory that brings you closer towards the ideas that you have, philosophic or self-inscribed as they might be, and try to be that person. And try to be it consistently. And if you find yourself stumbling, you just take accountability for the fact that you're stumbling and you try to do differently. You try to act differently. You try to be differently. Because that is easier. It is easier to do that. It is easier to be able to make content out of something that is not your personal life. It's the exhaustion from being hyper-political that does it. Most of us are tired of it too. All of us should be tired of it, especially after this goddamn September. Unironically, wake me up when September ends, bro. Whether or not we like living through historical events and becoming ingrained in that history, you ultimately need to tell yourself what you need to stop doing and then commit to it. Make your friends and family make you commit to it. Because you're picking things up and putting things down because you're deeply and uninterested in actually doing those things. For somebody like me, it's finding the time because I feel like I'm not working hard enough. For you, you got all the time in the goddamn world, but you're still fucking sad because I can't figure out what makes me happy. I just can't get happy. Because deeply, at the core of yourself, you're not capable of being happy because you don't know what happiness is. You chase a high. Me, I chase a fat ass. Simple as. I know exactly what I'm going to do when this dog gets that tail. You do not. You filter your life with material things that you immediately say to cope. There is no ethical consumption out of capitalism. At the same time that you're shooting your veins up with drugs. I can't get happy. This is clearly Trump's fault. All those damn evil transgender haters. You're the reason I'm doing this to myself. When will they do something about the person ruining my life? The Chins are making me do these drugs! The Chins are making me do these drugs! Come on, man. Come on, man.
Might hurt you instead. Fear, doubt, anxiety, loathing, loneliness. These are facts of life in a way that happiness just isn't. That's true for every artist and every murderer and every oligarch and every proletariat.
This just in, she said that they are comparable to a serial murderer. Write that down, write that down, write that down.
This torment is an inevitability in my life, as it is in yours. But for now, amidst all of that anguish, making YouTube videos makes me happy. See, I'm of the opinion that for most people, about, I don't know, half of the things that we're fighting for are just a complete waste of time, basically. When I look out the window, I see dead people. Dead people who don't give a fuck if they learned how to play piano or not because they're dead. I see dead people who, after a lifetime spent chasing completeness, died. Dead people who made it really far in life and achieved things that I could never imagine, but still had about as many happy days and about as many sad days as I'll have had. When I'm dead, people are going to look out of their windows and they're not going to be able to see my failed dreams any clearer than I'll be able to from underneath 6 feet of dirt.
Well, that's just inherently not true, and it's more of that morbidity that I'm talking about. Oh, my life is so horrible. Oh, I can't figure out what to do with myself. Oh, everything's bad and I don't know how to live and deal about it. Oh.
There are a lot of other things I care about too. Things that make my life a lot less simple, but that I fight for every day regardless. Family, politics, staying in small towns, keeping in touch with friends, helping out the people who need me.
Vain. Action that still leads to self-circumcistic vanity. Vain. More vainness. More vainness that is somehow a sign of being a good person. More vainness. Those are not things to be proud about, Leadhead. Those are things that a poser acts like they're proud about, when they're very clearly not.
constantly pushing myself to be the best life partner I can be. There are times where I can't relax at all because the things that I love demand too much from me. I'm gonna stress myself straight into an early grave for these videos and these people.
You're not going to stress yourself into an early grave over these videos. Your videos are not anything to stress out about. You can just stop being a fucking dumbass on the internet. That's all you can choose to do. You choose not to do that, so you're going to stay here. You're going to do the same shit before as you did again. Also, ha ha ha, they're wearing a Dare shirt. Look, we all know that we let that motherfucking tiger down. But let's not. Leadhead. Let's fucking not, okay? That's pathetic.
These ideals, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine with hating 60% of my days if it means that when it's my turn to die, I'll be able to look back on the sum of my life and know that I gave myself to the things that made me happy, even if that happiness was never truly complete.
The reason your happiness is not complete is because you keep kvetching about things that aren't happening to you. Kappa.
Because it's not about completion. It's about doing everything you possibly can to be happy in spite of the fact that it takes a lot of sadness to get there.
Despite the fact you're literally not doing that?
I'm never, ever, ever going to stop fighting.
Except that you keep doing that all the time. You keep not fighting all the time.
Sometimes you just need to chill the fuck out, recognize the sunk cost fallacy, put away the piano, smoke a bowl, do something you actually enjoy, and drop the worthless fights. Because weighing in on a bunch of stupid drama from people that you don't even like, or spending 2 hours in bed trying to figure out if you could have worded something differently, or pushing yourself to be on time to a party that you don't even want to go to, all that stuff, well, it's fucking stupid.
Yes, I agree. But here's the problem, okay? Here's where your comparison falls down. You are choosing to do them! No one made you try to learn how to play piano. You're already a decent enough guitarist. Why would you need to make yourself good at everything like you are treating life like it is a situation comparable to you being in a video game? Why would you feel the social compunction to do that to yourself? Why would you feel the reason to do that to yourself? There is no reason for you to do that to yourself. You can just not do it. It's very easy to do. It's as simple as not doing it. You don't victimize yourself. You don't put yourself in circumstances that you don't need to be involved in. You don't make yourself feel like the only reason why you feel this way is because it's something being done to you by other people. You just simply don't. You learn to exist without the attention. Clearly, that's not what you want to do. So, what we're going to do about it is not care, because it's not our problem. That doesn't make us evil. That doesn't make us heartless. It makes us capable of recognizing that you are a lost cause. You are a lost cause, not because we decided you're a lost cause, but because you decided you didn't want help. You don't want help. You don't want solutions. You just want problems. You want problems! Always! So that you can bitch about them. And then put them in your YouTube video. To say, hey guys, look what's going on in my life. Dun 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 dun. It is sad. It is deeply sad. The only thing that changes this, or can change it, for the better, is you accepting that this is something that you're still doing to yourself. But no, it's the chuds. Dun, 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 dun. Please gag me with the spoon if that's what you're going to do.
You know, it's never stupid. Being happy.
There you go again. Blaming the entire world while saying, hey guys, I'm doing it to myself. And I'm doing it with assistance from my transgender wife and my probably also rebellious sister. Oh, we're so quirky! It makes people not give a shit, Leadhead. It makes people not give a shit. It makes people not give a shit. Yeah. It makes people not give a shit. Oh, there's always more after the Patreon scroll. I'm not interested in your singing.
That was a really dark one. Okay, that was a really dark one. Sorry about that.
A video where they said they don't even care about putting on their voice anymore and then drop the man voice, go right back to doing the same affectionate thing. It's all attention, bro. It's all attention, bro. Bro, it's all attention, bro. Bro, it's all attention. It's all attention, bro. Bro, it's all attention. Pain. Pain.
Something I kind of neglected to talk about in this video, just for the sake of brevity, which is something I'm trying to get better at, is that one of the benefits making these videos has on my life is I use them to kind of purge a lot of very negative emotions that I feel throughout my day.
Oh, is that what you call it? Screaming at internet trolls is purging yourself of feelings that you feel? I'm not gonna lie, girl. It sounds like some bullshit. It sounds like some bullshit.
If I talk about the things that keep me up at night, you know, on this channel, wherever, it does help. And yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks. This video started out a good bit more lighthearted, and then one night I was kind of just spiraling when I wrote that entire nightmare sequence. And then I kind of relived that nightmare sequence over and over the next couple weeks. But now that the video's done, I gotta say, I can feel like all of that melting away, all of that just washing off of me. All the stuff that's been really messing with my head lately. A couple other things to note. One, this video was black and white because I thought one of the things that I needed a lot of work, a lot of practice with was lighting. And just in general, like creatively framing my shots and all that. And the limitations of a black and white video, I think, did a lot to help with that, although I'm not sure how much it helped with actual lighting techniques or theory, whatever you want to call it, because black and white lighting is very different from color lighting. This video looks absolutely horrible in color. But as you probably know, the actual reason that I'm here right now after the video is to read off the names of the patrons. Who have really been carrying a lot of my weight this year. This was a big transformational year for me so far, where I've tried to really push my style and my format in completely different directions, and it is only through the faith of my Patreon supporters that I am able to experiment like that and force myself to grow like that. And, well, I think I'm going to be able to keep up a better uploading pace now. I mean, if this video is anything to go by. Granted, it's a shorter one, but I'd argue it has plenty of substance for what it is. And hopefully I can keep on churning out videos this quickly. I guarantee you're not going to predict what the next one's about, assuming I'm correct about what it's going to be.
I'm going to blind you all, and I'm going to predict what it'll be about. Something to do with your personal life and how it relates to your view in politics and how all of us should listen to you. I can almost promise I'm on the margin.
But with that out of the way, let me just read off the names of those patrons, especially those who donate $10 or more monthly.
That's right. You read off the names of those people who keep you in this prison of your own design. Don't take any accountability. Just read them names, girl. Blame everybody else. Blame everybody else. You can't do nothing about it. You're just an innocent little poor victim. Just an innocent poor victim. You're just a poor girl and nobody loves you. And you can't do nothing at all. I roll.
Seriously, y'all are the reason that I do get to have this job. I think my camera's glitching again. Whatever. It was cool. Okay, the recording stopped. My camera's really freaking out. I'm gonna hurry so it doesn't happen again. Those patrons donating $10 or more monthly are Big Time Jim, Bridget G. Jeez, I can't even read this. I gotta zoom in. Big Time Jim, Bridget G, Callie Carmine, Cass Carton, Charlotte, Chloe R. Sorry. Daniel McDonald, Darius Fazier, Demise, Despoina, Edelsis, Emma Roberts, Barday, Eva Knight, Field Number 5, George Rosenbaum, Grease Beef, Guybrush, Gwen T, Hazel the Dog, the cooler one, Huntakar, IE Teeth.
Hazel the dog, the cooler one, implies that there's a less cool one. Why is there a less cool one? What's the story there, Leadhead? I guess we won't get to know, chat.
Ion Lester, whichever. Issa, Kelly, Lake, Laura
Not to be confused with Jan Koifer.
Liz Lestrange, Luke Chambers, Lynn Payne, Maddie Tourmaline, Max Bean, Melody, Metamaniac, Mia Maple, Mintius Miranda, Molly, Neo Lunatics, Naris, Neurofilter, Nicole, One-Eyed Wiley, Pa Aurelia, Thea Westfall, Rio, Rose Like the Flower, Scott Edwards, Sean Hamilton, Cecile, Shay Theas, Sophia Lovelace, Stormy, Somer Celine Garnet Midnight, Swatchbox, Sweetmeat, The Narcissist Cookbook, Tired Puppy Ashley, Yara 12, Zara, Almost Dead Again, David Kaiser, Jamie Follett, Cortisol, Alok Lamont, Kay, Boya, and Hazel Pup. You know how I think it was Hitchcock always talking about I make one for them and then one for me? I kind of feel like I just make all my videos for me, but this one was the one for me.
This is a lie that's going to repeat itself in the future. Mark it down, mark it down, mark it down!
So hopefully this next video will be one for y'all, one that more people will be able to enjoy and get something out of, as opposed to something this intimately personal for me. But anyways, thank you so much. It means so much that you're all willing to watch this stuff. Camera's glitching again, so I'm gonna get out of here. Have a good day.
Do you feel smart, chat? Do you feel like we learned anything here? I don't. I feel robbed. Robbed! However, I have been freed from my prison! Until I am forced to return to the seat again. To report on Leadhead again. Which means I'm actually not out of the chair. I'm still here. Pain. 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 So, how do we feel? How do you all feel, Chad? I know I feel exhausted. How do you feel? kind of like every day when I wake up and I look on my feed and I see Destiny's content sister, Not So Erudite, embarrassing herself again, spurring about the right wing having no answer to the problems that are happening. It's how I feel about that, about usually anything political, but something especially this political. I feel like if I were to eat through the pain, I would become much fatter than I already am. Yet, it helps everybody really, it's like a pick-me-up. If you ever really feel bad about your life and where you are in it, just look over at somebody like a Leadhead, and you'll feel instantly better, bro. You'll look instantly better. You'll look better, you'll feel better. Sorry, typing something really quick. There we go. But it's like, it makes you feel better. It makes you feel better when you look at what other people are not doing in their life. And then you say to yourself, well, my life is so bad. I can't ever be able to recover from this. And then you look over and it's like, oh, well, my life ain't that bad at all. And you feel a lot better about circumstances that you otherwise would not feel good about. Because it just helps. It just helps. It's better for you to feel like it's something that could help you than it be something that would drive you insane. Because otherwise, the only thing you would have left is the misery. And misery just makes you miserable, so. Can't let it get to you in that way. You always gotta say, tomorrow is another day. Because if you ever stop saying that, that's how you run out of it is what it is. You will run out of it is what it is if you keep forgetting to tell yourself that tomorrow is another day. Sockin' buskin'. That's at least how I see it. So, much like how most of my career, that's funny, Avalon. Much like how I've opened my career and spent my career going through that virtual Idlewild, trying to find myself after my friend Ian was found dead, basically murdered in his car by a government official drunk driving on the road in my state. I could have been just like Leadhead if I allowed myself to go down that line where I did not surround myself with people like Horror and Jay. And just like how I was friends with people like I'll say that name. Like I was friends with people like friends whose names I won't use for their own sanity. And how I wronged them by making a mistake. Or how I was friends with people like Ben, Chaos Treza, and I had to stop being friends with him because it became very clear that I was being told if I don't make decisions to cut off people, that means that there's something wrong with me. I had to decide whether or not it was possible to grow, change, evolve, become better, and also take stock of where I am and what I want to work on, while at the same time trying to figure out how I can also do that while causing no harm and paying back that investment that is being given to me, that has been given by me to me, that has been given to me by my friends, that has been given to me by my relatives, that has been given to me by you, my audience, and how I can pay back that in dividends. Because I am nothing if I am not a constant servant to the will of other people, while trying to find ways to serve myself. I keep trying to find ways to suit myself, and sometimes it doesn't always come out the way I want. I'm not afforded the ability to do it the way that I would like. And it is what it is at the end of the day. But being that it is what it is, and it is how it is, because it be what it is, because it do what it is, because it be what it do, what it do, what it be like, I have to find myself in the same context that most people find themselves in, which is, how do I make all of this worth it? How do I make a name for myself and afford myself the ability to be the person that I am, while also taking stock of my life and trying to figure out how to achieve that outcome and that goal, and not feel like I am a failure unto the people that I am associated with. It's a hard concept, and it's a very hard bargain. Because I will always feel like I owe people something. Because in many ways I do. All of us do. Some way or another. We owe somebody or something or someone to opportunities and chances we've taken ourselves. And looking at this on the outside, looking inwards, it is so refreshing looking at somebody like Leadhead do this to themselves. Because it helps you understand, oh wow, it actually wasn't that bad. Because a lot of it comes down to you think it's the worst it'll ever be, and you'll never recover. Stop giving me bad cards and give me an actual good card. Oh my lord, have mercy. It is something that people really obviously take for granted a lot. How many times am I going to cycle the same fucking gold card? It is something that people have to do for themselves in order for them to truly become satisfied with where they are based on that output pain that they end up finding themselves in with how they look at the world. Because you could look at the world and you could be completely sad about how you choose to face the music. But it's not going to change the fact that a lot of the things that are happening are still at the cost-benefit analysis of you deciding when enough is enough. Because you can always take stock of your life and decide, I'm not going to be a victim to my misery anymore. It's a nice sentiment, but it don't mean shit if you don't actually have the ability to follow through with it. Most people don't have the ability to follow through with it because they find themselves where they are, and more often than not, they are not given the opportunity to be granted that opportunity. Which is a weird way to say it, but that's how it is. They are not given the chance to be given the opportunity to be granted the chance to be a part of that self-discovery. I think we are dead here. It is very easy to put it on to someone else, because it's not the same thing when you really think about it at the end of the day. Oh no, we're not dead. It's very difficult when you think about it at the end of the day, because a lot of the accountability factor that you could give yourself on not being miserable comes from a place most people are not comfortable with going to. Certainly not individuals like Leadhead. And for someone like myself who could be solipsistic on everything, I've had to learn the hard way that there are times where I have to take action more often than I would want to. I don't like being made to make choices. Not the same thing as making choices. I don't like being forced and having my hand forced. I prefer respecting somebody else's agency and letting them come to their own conclusions. Oh my God. Letting them come to their own conclusions about how they want to proceed with what they want to do. I don't want to force someone to do something. Because if I have to force them, I know what kind of person I can become if I have to physically crush something with my thumb. Because I will never let myself be put in a position where I'll be bullied again. I know what that feels like, and I'm not going to let that happen again. I'd much rather be able to take stock of my life and be satisfied with where I'm going than allow myself and others to feel victimized by the circumstances of other people pushing actions onto us or onto me and saying that I just have to do what they say, despite the fact that I fucking do not. Because otherwise, I will always end up being miserable. Because unfortunately, those kinds of individuals do not actually care about what happens next. They only specifically care about what you end up causing and giving them the opportunity to take part in. Which in and of itself is just the way of the world, I guess. But I feel like I'm just rambling at this point. But anyways, long story short, looking at people like Leadhead make themselves miserable makes me be able to appreciate the fact that I'm not like that. And in doing so, I'm able to be satisfied with what comes next. Because more often than not, I am not capable of being satisfied with what comes next. Because usually what comes next is some bullshit. It kind of goes to the core of things, just like my identity itself. Looking at individuals like Leadhead do what they do makes it feel like I already know what's going to happen next, despite the fact that I, in fact, do not know what's going to happen next. I don't like being right. I don't like making predictions about what other people are going to say and do, and then deciding that, well, I'm just going to have to do this because that's not how I should look at circumstances and situations. I should be much more capable of understanding that that's not how things really truly go. But unfortunately, there are people who do not see it that way. They do not see the same thing that I can see. And so, dealing with the circumstances around something like that, it comes and goes to a place of concern. Where I have to take stock of that reality. Well, we're definitely dead. It's sad to do in the long term. Because in the long term, looking at things like that is morbid. People don't like being sad, they like being happy. However, I like talking about the shit that nobody talks about. And I don't think enough people really concern themselves and talk about the fact that they find themselves where they are because they have unfortunately put their faith in the wrong kinds of people and or in the wrong kinds of environments. It doesn't necessarily mean they have to be fucking sad all the fucking time, but I'm also very tired of being the individual who has to be the responsible one and then being punished for being the responsible one. I'm tired of it in my personal life. I'm tired of it in my circumstances. I'm tired of it being used as a tool to shame me for who I am as a content creator. I'm tired of the gossip being used as justification to somehow stop me from being a person, because since I choose to look into the shit that I do, means that I must be the problem, rather than the individuals who are trying to get me to simply be okay with some fuck shit that I am not fine with. Type shit. It is a constant perplexion that I find myself finding myself in, and that I hate finding myself in. Because every time I find myself in it, it happens to be coming from people who just don't fucking get it. Don't get it, don't want to get it, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, it does give me the ability to appreciate and have perspective on shit. But it's very fucking lonely. It can be very fucking lonely doing that. And I find myself, maybe we're not dead. And I find myself, amongst many, feeling that. I have to take that on myself and use that. Otherwise, I would end up with that solipsistic viewpoint for the possible rest of my career, where I become very deeply untrusting of everyone, and then nothing changes for the better. It would be the case that that happens. But in truth and honesty, who knows? I could be completely coping and seething. But I feel like the more that we keep seeing shit like this, especially from creators like Leadhead, the more it is obvious that that is actually what is happening. Like, we keep seeing the same things repeating themselves, because Leadhead and others like Leadhead are the ones finding themselves in these situations, because of how and who they are and how they choose to be. It's not supposed to be our responsibility or our problem, but it ultimately becomes our responsibility and problem, because there's nobody else that's actually going to do it. We somehow fucking did it. Oh my lord. Ante 12. Now we're very much dead. Yeah, now we're very much dead. Yeah, shit like that. Shit like this. Shit like this from people like Leadhead. It's something that I don't want people to just look at like regular, ha ha, the lolcow is being a lolcow again, guys. This is not something we're supposed to milk. You're supposed to take stock of the fact that this is something that they're, oh my god, the KFC is posting in, what is this? Is this Egyptian hieroglyphs? 1 second, chat. Look at this. I'm pretty sure this is Egyptian hieroglyphic. Weird. Yeah, I don't want people to treat stuff like what I end up looking at of like a way to push responsibility off of themselves and just say, hey bro, we worry about it. It's just content. No, it's really not. It's the death of material and content on the internet. Like, making everybody into a lolcow means that everybody's milking somebody. And everybody should not be milking somebody. Certainly, you can do it enough, and you can be able to do it without having to feel like you are a monster. But you, unironically, cannot treat everything like never-ending content. And it's so boring because of the fact that that keeps happening. It's so trash. It's so trash. So consistently trash. Just like there's gonna be a fucking Simpson movie sequel. Well, looks like we're back in the recession days, boys. I wonder if Green Day's gonna show up to do another dog shit piece of music. Maybe it'll be Rage Against the Machine this time. But like when it comes to the evergreen content, the evergreen content should not be us perpetually making fun of people forever. It gets stale. You can only go back to the well so many times. New things, new shit, new stuff, new experiences. That is why we are doing the conscience driving in the first fucking place. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you gotta add more voices. Yes, you never go 100% irony pilled. Just like you can find yourself being an individual who makes fun of other people for becoming 100% internet poison and seeing a agenda everywhere it isn't. You cannot go the other way, too, and decide there's no reason to care about and upkeep anything because you've become so fucking irony-pilled that you can't be sincere. It's a sliding gradient scale, and you can't go all the way off the margin. I return. You cannot become 100% irony-pilled and irony-poisoned. Because unfortunately right now, most of the content that we're consuming and we're watching is fucking dead. And most of the content that we're consuming and watching is basically fucking dead. And is a black hole of never-ending, repeating, and self-filtering loops. Because unfortunately, that is what creates attention. I've been on this content kick. I'm never going to stop saying this. In order for you to solve the greater issue, or at least in order to alleviate the boredom that creates the majority of what to do, as well as taking part in a different type of content, you have to change your personal relationship to it. I can agree, Exo Crusher, there is content, just not in places that I'm thinking to look at, because I don't see value in some of the places that content's coming from. Places like the sector do not need to be aired out. They are a containment zone. Content, air quote, from materials such as EHD does not need to be discussed more than it already has. Because by bringing attention to Hassan Piker, you enrich Hassan Piker. Bringing attention to Stephen Bonnell II enriches and gives more screen time and more airwaves for Stephen Bonnell II, aka Destiny, to be able to gish gallop live on a camera. You have to find new content, and that's always what I'm doing. Looking for and trying to find new content. It's just that when it comes from those particular spaces that I do not want to give power to, and that I will actively bury, it makes some people sad. If the content comes from the places that's not those places, then it's not a big issue. It's not a big deal. Some things need to be niche. Some things should remain mainstream. When they become mainstream, they need to remain niche in the mainstream. Otherwise, they will die the slow death of Redditor. Yes, exactly, Avalon. For example, Darkside Phil makes lots and lots of content, but it smells like fecal matter, so you leave it on your neighbor's lawn who once borrowed the weed whacker and somehow broke it, and you never emulate it. They are walking cases of what not to do. I want the things that I do to be something that is going to be interesting, if not because of who I am or what I have to say, but because it is going to be something that we have never seen before. We used to have a rule about this. It was called the no turds twice rule. Problem with that is, if you use no turd twice in a way to try and find new material to make, you're going to find yourself getting directly into bullying. This is why I try to do content that involves audience participation and interaction. You can make endless experiences being directly involved. If you're only ever arm's reach away from it, and that's what gets you involved, being up front close with a front row seat to the blood show, that's how you summon blood sports. And unfortunately, we live in a society where people cannot handle the fact that blood sports needs to die. People keep trying to find ways to reinvent blood sports. And then if you call them out on it and you stop them, they call you lame gang cringe. Like this is being offered a cigarette inside of a fucking a goddamn party. No, it's not. You're trying to make somebody into a perpetual creature that you can beat like a cow, and then when they die, inevitably, because you're bullying, you want to say like, we're sorry, I didn't mean to do it. One of the things I had to come to terms with is that despite being friends with certain people, there are certain people around me that make certain kind of content that I'm not actually deeply okay with. Not because of how they chose to make their fame, not because of the popularity. We, as friends, are cool. I'm not cool with how the people around them behave. Especially the particular people who I have banned from my audience for behaving in this way, that just then ran to my friend and started using my friend as an excuse point. It's so great that you do this and you're not like him. Meanwhile, when you find out, well, what do you mean it's so great that I'm not like Carl for? It's literally not letting somebody harass and talk about me in private in a way where they say, I'm going to prey on his downfall and I'm actively going to ruin him. Hi, Carl, what did I miss? The entire video, NeoJ. I guess you're going to have to look at the VOD. Womp womp. Don't worry, it'll be made and I'll make an evergreen title for it at a later date. Probably when I get off of the camera, because I have to make dinner again. One of the downsides of not having a microwave oven. Some of the basic things that I could make as dinner, I can't. Fortunately, Wheezy decided to send me a microwave. So that should be here by Thursday. Also, everybody should be thanking ya boy, the Exocrusher, because we are currently sitting at a full 500 something. I didn't do the calculation, but I know that we're over it. We are over the $500 goal. Yeah. As of literally yesterday. I don't know if my terms of content are different, but I always find content just not in the lol cow and drama trend. Well, it is the case. It's just that most of the time, not just you, Extra Pressure, I'm talking about everybody who ever brings me something. There's content there's things being offered to me in content, in my DMs, in my emails, in my interactions when I go to other servers, and in my interactions when I observe and I listen and I talk inside of the chat rooms and the audiences of other streamers, other content creators, and behind the scenes. Excuse me. On stuff. Most of the content that's going on, if it's not some type of live streamer throws money at audience for free, it is some type of content that falls back onto just being bullying, but acceptable bullying. Right now, one of the pieces of content is the true life thing involving David, spelled D-V-E-D or D4-V-D. He outright murdered someone, and somehow, in terms of the material that is actually relevant to Fortnite and Epic Games, They want to keep his collaboration, but they decided to try and pull Peacemaker emotes out of the Fortnite store because they just discovered the Media Literacy Squad that is James Gunn made a universe where Peacemaker was in Earth X, which is the Nazi universe. And they think him doing this, which I'm pretty sure I talked about on another broadcast, seems like it's actually him making a Hakenkunis, which is the German word for a swastika. The 45-degree tilted swastika, which this definitely is not because these are 90-degree angles. But you know, dumb people being dumb decided that that's going to be the topic of this week. That is content. It's just that it doesn't interest me to talk about it because it's not something that hasn't been discovered, or it's something that I think less people have appreciated, ultimately. After all, you all have the ability to post things to me and suggest material. If you are not aware and or are new, there is a section of the server that is dedicated to it. One side is Printing Press Success, the other side is Stream Ideas. If you are a higher level member, you can post them directly to Stream Ideas. If you are a lower level member, you can be able to post the event happening to Printing Press Express. And you can also tell me about it on camera, and I will likely investigate it at a later date. Everybody has the ability to tell me about content. You can even leave suggestions directly in my email, directly inside of my DMs. It just so happens to be the majority of the things going off just what I'm looking at right now in Printing Press Express. I Love Kim Possible a Lot has returned to try to absorb more attention and time, having already been rebuffed for being an accuser of DA Games and a shamer of Saberspark, claiming actually Saberspark was in love with me. I don't see the reason to talk about that. We already talked about it. Ex-Try Guy, Ned Fulmer, we already talked about that. And so did the rest of the internet, enjoying it for like a hot second before they went back to complaining about Charlie Kirk and Trump. Because he went on to a broadcast with his ex-wife to complain about how he cucked her and how it made him feel while he sat there emasculated, trying to find a way to like justify things, because if I go on camera and I say that I'm sorry to my ex-wife, then maybe I'll be allowed to remove myself from this drama. Nah, he just opened up another can of whoop ass on himself. For free! Talked about it. And then, after that one, Dragon's Treasure Tea saying screw your optics and then beefs with Lumi from the Archcast. That itself is basically interpersonal lolcow drama. I'm not interested in it. That's just what I've been given inside the server in Printing Press Express. There are more stories like this, and I try to collab with stuff for that, and that's what's been coming up. That's what you all have been enjoying recently. Me setting up talks and conversations and interviews on other people's channels, being a part of the content. That is me providing you more things to watch, more things to consume, and more things to do. Like, there's going to be an event coming up in October, I believe, if it's not currently happening now, for Once Human, where they're going to be having a crossover event for Once Human that involves Pow World. See if I can find the post. Yes. For the interaction on Survive, Capture, and Preserve. They're going to be putting out they are putting out actually right now a launch of the early access version of this on September 24th. And this core gameplay loop is going to have a crossover for Pow World. And this crossover is going to happen in October, I believe. Pull this up on camera. While I also do this calculation on camera real quick. And it's going to give everybody the ability to involve themselves with Pow World if they've never played it yet, while possibly playing something new that they've probably never done before as well. It has always been the case that I've tried to bring people closer to socializing with each other than most content creators do. We are exactly at 500. We are exactly at 505.79 So putting all that stuff together in that way, and providing that opportunity for it, while also trying to brainstorm with things and figure out the days to do them, it is literally, I'm doing literally everything I'm supposed to. The only thing that I can't do is force you all to show up there and to be a part of it. That's it. That's the only thing. Yep. There we go. Don't want to put that on there. That has people's names on it. Disregard what you just saw. So, the number here is now 505.79 cents. We are now at the crossover community range. I still need to figure out what we're going to do at 1K. So I'm going to keep taking in more questions and answers because I have towards the end of October to figure out what that's going to be, or for us to decide what it'll be collectively if we hit that goal. I'll take in more questions, and I'll keep taking questions up to the last moment. I published this on the 29th of August, so the 29th of October is the limitation I'm giving myself. So literally 2 days before Halloween. We're still sitting at a cross sub count of 2. So that's still there. That's still stuff that can be done as well. But yeah, I've been making the content, I've been doing the stuff, I've been doing the things. Playing the video games, studying the content, producing the interview. The only thing that I haven't been recently doing is producing the videos, and that's because I'm still working on edits of videos. More specifically, I'm making updates to guides of videos that need to be published, and then working backwards from there. But a tree fell on my house. So, dealing with that slowed down the process by a lot. Give me like two fortnights. I probably need like 2 to 3-ish weeks. I set up time with the same people who were at my party the other day for how we were going to go about dealing with the lumber. So this upcoming weekend, that should be getting cleared. Until then, I need like maybe a fortnight to process those things out. Because just like I was saying about the Leadhead stuff, this introspection that I've been doing, that was as far back as the Womanican videos that I did on camera. That's when I started this editing process, and I've just been reworking that editing process because I've thought a lot deeper about my interaction with my work, and my interaction with my audience, and my interaction with people who I know and could get to know. And I've been working and trying to parse that emotion and that discovery into words and bring it closer to something that I'm proud of, rather than just Carl reads headline and keeps spamming content on the headlines. Because again, I'm not trying to be Smash GT. If you think that I'm not doing enough on the content, feel free to send me things that you think that I should look into, and I will look into them. Otherwise, I have no idea unless you tell me. Because I'm trying to keep my head on the millstone. Not just because I don't want to be involved, but there's things currently happening that I do not want to have taken from me by the government when it comes to the paycheck that I will earn from home concerning these things. Yeah. Because it can actually be a problem if that ends up fucking with that. Basically. Use the wood to make an entire Hot Wheels track to prove your autism credentials. I have never once claimed being autistic. I have always said that I am anally retentive. Also, I already took two of those things of wood. I'm going to use them as chairs. My brother ruined our house chairs for our dining room table. Or at least one of them. And then another one I think has had a leg broken off. So I'm going to use those logs and lumber as household chairs, but for the outside, for like a patio. In case I want to sit down, especially when I choose to record TikToks underneath the awning of my carport, because it's at least the one part of my house that is not always in the blistering hot sun. In the midday, the sun is directly beating down straight on the house. It's also why I use my sunroom over in the other room to record those. But unfortunately, a particular someone is occupying that room half the time. And I cannot record if they are occupying the room all the time. So it's either make the content at late night, or go outside my house and make the content. It is what it is. Besides, I don't have to do that to prove my credentials if I truly would be close enough to autistic. I play game simulators, bro. That's much easier. Anywho. Third Edict Racing event. 5th of October. First to kill Tavakai in Act 4 on a solo self-found abyssal environment. Players incur a penalty on death where they cannot move for 2.5 minutes. First to include abyssal content. Demigod's virtual unique for a new helm. Across all classes. Cycle through the demigod items. Move only stash tab. Add to the core leagues. Choosing to remove the item to equip, show off, link to others, or keep on the Trilogy of the Ages or trade away, using as cosmetic. If you want to use it as a cosmetic, you can convert it to a microtransaction using convert race reward. All future leagues have their new only stash too, only becoming what will come available 1 month more into the league. Interesting. And a divination card design awarded to the fastest player out of all 3 races. Shoutcasting by Ziggy D and Rise QT, co-streaming, blah blah blah. Very cool. Very, very cool. And there was actually an update about major in-game changes for Path of Exile. I suppose we're going to cover that at some point. Probably not right now. Because it is already 5, and I need to start dinner before I do anything. Yes, we are wrapping up here for now. I need to go to the kitchen and start preparing dinner. However, I will be back immediately on another broadcast. So, see y'all in a few seconds / minutes. Goodbye. Ouch. And thank you all for your ongoing and continued support. I very much appreciate it. None of the things that I do would be possible without all of you. And since we have crossed that $500 mark, do keep in mind that this means that we're going to end up having more people interacting soon, once October rolls around and starts to go out the door as we approach November. I think I might do it as a Thanksgiving Day situation. That's what I think might be most prevalent. So, I will keep you all posted as we create developments about that, because there's at least 4 different communities that cross over with me that are going to be a part of that giveaway. So, Shabbat Shalom. Word to your mothers.